Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
It's time for another episode of All Politics Are Local with your host, Barry D.
It's Friday, so that means it's time for another All Politics Are Local, a weekly show hosted by me, Barry D.
Who?
What are you, an owl? It's Barry D. Here at WCHE, we are proud to be Chester County's only AM and FM radio station with studios located on the 17th floor of the WCHE Studios corporate building on West Gay Street, right here in historic Westchester, right down the street from Deborah Ann Mack at 125 North Church Street. You might ask, Barry, who is Deborah Ann Mack? Well, I'll tell you who Deborah Ann Mack is. She creates custom-made luxury bridal outerwear and clothing for women. That's right. If you want a one-of-a-kind, this is who you want to go see. Wedding gowns, she makes them too. They are custom fit for everybody, everywhere. How do you find her? It's easy. You can Google her at Deborah Ann Mack, or you can call or text her at 484-678-5853, or you can email her at dmac@dam.fashion. How about that? .fashion. Kind of cool, huh? Check her stuff out. You will be impressed. I got to tell you, I stopped by her website. You know, I'm not like a chick dude at all, you know, but I went over. She makes some really cool looking stuff. I would be very happy if Princess had some of her stuff. Probably can't afford it, but it is really nice. Anyway, that's another shameless plug for a local business. So, what have I got on the schedule today? Well, I have my Real Men of Genius commercial, then 5 Minutes with Jack, then Carla from Chester County Ramblings, then my proof that there is absolutely no voter fraud going on in this country.
Really?
Yes, really. You stick around, I'll prove it to you. And on the boards today is the world-famous operator of the boards. That would be the one and only Eric Clambera. He is legendary for his ability to take mediocre sound good and the good sound fantastic.
Pretty hard to believe.
Yeah, I know, but that means there's hope for me yet.
That's good, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be. I picked up a pretty bad cold this week, a couple days ago, so if I sound better than I normally do, that's why.
You look marvelous.
Well, you got me kind of blushing there, but, you know, let's move on from that point. There was a time when commercials had it down to a science. You know, the companies really had it going on. You know, they tell you about something that attracted you to watching their commercial, like, oh, look, there's Bears in the Woods, by Marlboros. Then, while you were watching that commercial, they would insert that important part. That would be the Marlboros. Or whatever, you know what I mean? Like the Cowboys and all that stuff. They had it down, right? They pulled you in. The part about the product and somehow how to associate it with whatever was just attracting you to the TV screen, absolute magic. Then, the two of you, both of those were inextricably linked. The commercial was both entertaining and intriguing. It piqued your interest. You had the product in there. Interested? Now you watch what the product was. But today, companies have a brand new tact. See, they sell you that they're environmentally friendly, that they're social justice warriors, and you can be too just by purchasing their product. Both boring, and they just generally suck. Both the company and the products. One such company that felt that billion-dollar beatdown was Budweiser, with its Bud Light campaign just a couple years ago. InBev, a Belgian company, by the way, the owner of Budweiser decided to try out this modern corporate suicide, and its sales dropped so dramatically the 2 bottling plants had to shut down due to the loss in volume of sales.
You don't know better than that.
Yeah, you would think they did, Mo Howard, but they didn't. And that's sad. You know how many jobs they lost? 645. 2 shuttered manufacturing plants. I just checked the other day. You know how many of those plants opened? None. All because politically correct had become the sales pitch forced upon the masses that ain't buying the message that's being sold to them. Worse yet, the people that the beer company was marketing to were never going to buy their product. Come on. It's not a big deal. Move on. Sell to the people that are going to buy it, and they'll bring people in. You know, these people running the campaign were clearly not real men of genius. And in fact, I think only like a couple of them got the axe out of it. They should have all been booted out. What kind of morons were they? Anyway, let's jump into that WCHE time machine and go back a quarter century, back to when commercials had real entertainment value. Hit it.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real Today we salute you, Mr. Golf Tournament Quiet Sign Holder-Upper.
Mr. Golf Tournament Quiet Sign Holder-Upper.
Boldly you patrol the line between order and anarchy, armed with only your wits, your resolve, and your tiny cardboard sign stapled to a stick.
Actually, I glued it on.
You protect professional golfers from what they fear most. Idle chit-chat 200 yards away.
Stop breathing so loud now.
Because you know there's one thing this spectator sport could really do without. Spectators.
Get them out.
So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, oh sultan of the shush. We'll keep singing your praises as long as you keep telling us to shut up.
Mr. Golf Tournament Quiet Sign Holder-Upper.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
The sultan of the shush. Hey, let's jump to the commercials a little prematurely, pay some bills, and then we'll be right back with 5 Minutes with Jack.
Barry D is back with All Politics Are Local.
All right, it's time for...
All right.
Could somebody please put Matthew McConaughey back in his box? We can't have him wandering around aimlessly all over the 17th-story WCHE corporate building. You know?
All right.
Matt, you're killing me. That's how fire started. At least the last time it was because of him. Anyway, it's time for 5 Minutes with Jack, and today he's on a $24 million roll. Good morning, Jack. How are you?
Barry, I'm doing quite well. It sounds like you might be a little bit under the weather today.
Yeah, you know, I was up in Maine, had a performance up there, and it was a lot of work. And one of the people on my team got a cold and actually dropped out on Saturday morning. And Princess said, you know, we're going to get sick now because we were real close to that guy when we were working on stuff. Sure enough, Tuesday, started feeling it in the back of my throat. It's really taken hold, man. Really taken hold. But I get through it. I always do.
You muscle through it. Through it.
Not like you when you got COVID and you were almost dead and you went blue-lipped and they wanted to intubate you.
Yeah, none of that. Ventilator, actually.
But I remember they wanted to intubate you, and that was your one thing. You said, do not let them intubate me.
That's right. There will be no incubating.
I think that's the only reason you're alive today is because we didn't allow them to put a ventilator down inside of you.
That's exactly right. Well, maybe you can implement a mask policy for future crew members.
Yeah, maybe that's it. And that's what I need. Anybody who's on the team got to wear a mask. In fact, they should double mask. Triple mask.
Well, triple. I think front and back.
I think it doesn't get any better than that, does it? That's right. Yeah. What do you got today, Jack? What do you got?
Well, you know, Barry, it's not really local, but it's certainly something that affects all of us every single day because we all get mail from the U.S. Post Office. We all do.
People still get mail no matter what. There's still stuff that has to come through the mail.
Yep, we can't be Kramer and deny mail. We have to be part of the system, and there's still the only game in town when it comes to a first-class letter. They're the only ones in the game. They have no competition.
Right, well, it's the cheapest way to go. I mean, you can mail a first-class letter through FedEx or whatever, but it's going to cost you $30. Can't do that. Can't do that. It's too much money.
Yep. So, you know, some upstanding citizens out in the great state of Texas decided that they were going to start stealing checks, and over the course of a couple of years, they cashed in $24 million, Barry. $24 million.
$24 million in checks.
$24 million in checks.
When you control the mail, you control information.
Wow.
It was a great system. They had a facilitator outside of the Postal Service.
So, yes, how did all this work? Tell me how it worked.
Well, they would, of course, find a check, and they targeted a couple of specific banks. So, obviously, they had some recon there that they determined that, hey, letters from these banks may very well contain checks.
So it could be like what? Investment type checks, not small dollar amounts, several $1,000s. One of them was $1.5 million. Oh my God!
And then they would sell the checks, and they'd be mailed using FedEx.
Where's my $1.5 million check for my Lamborghini? Oh, don't worry about that. It's not coming now.
Could you imagine, Barry, if you're being mailed a $1.5 million check and the person is saying, "Oh yeah, I put that in the mail," and you're going, "Well, I didn't get it." "Oh yeah, you did."
Oh yeah, you did. It says right here it was cashed.
"Oh yeah, you did."
Oh my God. Holy smokes.
So 5 have been indicted. 3 are former employees, I assume, for the U.S. Post Office.
Mm-hmm.
A couple are in custody. Some haven't been arrested yet, but they've all been indicted. The interesting thing is, Barry, the ringleader happened to be out on a bond for murder. He posted a $600,000 bond.
Well, how do you think he got that money? He had to sell checks.
Someone that was waiting on a check, I think.
Oh my God! So, what did they publish the names of these people?
Oh, they certainly did. Barry, would you like me to read the names of the outstanding citizens that were 3 of which were federal employees entrusted with the mail? So we have
allegedly.
Of course, I just read what it says. They were indicted. So
okay, go ahead.
I can only read what it says.
I just don't want us being sued because they haven't actually been prosecuted yet. So they has not been deemed that they are actually guilty of this. So they are allegedly this. Okay, yes. Go ahead.
Yes. So the 3 names that we have
that have been arrested.
So the alleged leader is Tristan Vaughn. One of the postal workers is Catherine Kilpatrick. Another postal worker is Dracor Alexander. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we have Malcolm Jobert, who's also a postal worker. And then the person that was facilitating the sale and shipping the checks would be Elisa Bryant.
Okay, so these fine people, if I've got you right on this, Jack, they're finding the checks. They look at them in the mail. They're like, "Oh, well, you looky here. This is undoubtedly a check," because you could look at it and tell it's a check, right? When it comes through, they open it up, they take it, and then they would sell that check at some way discounted value, I guess, maybe.
Yep.
So
you got it.
So it was almost $24 million in checks?
$24 million.
I wonder what they were discounting them to sell those things. Probably 20 cents on the dollar or something.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to imagine how this works. They get the checks, and then how were they selling them? How were people finding these checks?
They were using an app through Telegram called Slips and Chips.
So kind of advertising these checks that you could buy them.
Yeah, apparently. I guess if you're on Telegram and you go to a channel called Slips and Chips, you're able to purchase stolen checks.
Okay, so the people buy these things. Now, let's say you got that $1.5 million check that you were talking about.
Yeah.
And it's in the name of Desiree, Kowalski. So they'd either have to wash the check to put their name on it, or they'd have to get fake ID or maybe the name of somebody who was dead, and again make fake ID but with a social security number attached to it, or maybe a real name of somebody else that has that name and social security number, and they'd have to open up an account, right? Doesn't that make sense? That's what they have to do.
I wouldn't know the mechanics behind it, but that sounds plausible to me.
Yeah, okay, so then they do that. Well, tell me something. You're a banker, right? And somebody walks in and goes, "Yeah, I'd like to open up an account." And then they open up an account, and they're like, "Okay, so Desiree, what would you like to deposit in there?" "Well, I have a $1.5 million check I'd like to deposit." doesn't the bank manager get suspicious and go, somebody that has a $1.5 million check certainly must have a bank account someplace else, because you don't just come up with $1.5 million. What, they say they're new to the neighborhood? I mean, I can't imagine this. How, I mean, the red flags had to be popping up at banks for this stuff, wouldn't you think?
Well, I would think so, Barry, but there's so many different ways to deposit a check now. Now you can take a picture of it.
Yeah, but they have caps on that.
I don't know how they did this, and I don't know how they did it for so long, because this started back in 22.
Oh, my God, they got away with it for that long. That's amazing. Now, the one guy, you said the ringleader is also out on a bond for murder?
He was at the time of the indictment.
Well, at least he was able to make bond by selling bad checks or good checks, right? So, if nothing else, he's enterprising, right?
Exactly. Oh, what's the bond amount? $600,000? Oh yeah, I got that.
I got that. That.
Would you take a check?
Yeah, right. Holy smokes! So, in thinking about this, these fine individuals saw envelopes.
Yep.
Knowing those envelopes had checks in them. However they did it, whether you could tell it was a check, like it's in the window and you can see it's clearly a check. Like in my business, sometimes I get those from the bank from people that have the checks issue the checks
from
to
the
me.
bank.
Right.
Oh, and maybe that's what they targeted, was those type of checks where you're having the bank write the check for you.
Yeah. Could be that. Or get investments or something like that. Now I know this is far reaching. Work with me on this, okay, Jack? Just work with me for a minute.
Okay.
Just don't think less of me on this. So when you got mail carriers like that, do you ever think that it would be possible, and I'm just reaching here, do you think it'd be possible that somebody could come to mail carriers and go, tell you what I'm going to do, for every mail-in ballot that you have coming to your houses here in this neighborhood that you're on the route for, I'll give you $2, $3 or whatever. And then
$5. $5. Yeah.
And you're going to then collect all of those, right? And go, what do I carry? Got lost in the mail. And then you collect 50, 60, 80 of them. Not an unreasonable amount considering, you're running around a neighborhood. And then you turn them to 80 of them. And it's $5 a piece. And you hand them to him. Guy goes, okay, there's 80 of them here. Here's your $400. Thank you very much. Cash. It's been great doing business with you. And then that guy then fills out those applications, not applications, but those ballots, and mails them back in, signs the name, mails them back in. That could never happen, could it?
No, Barry.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think so. I thought I was reaching on that. So, but Barry, I'm sure these people,
using modern math, $5 million, you could certainly turn an election because you have 1 million ballots, right?
You could turn an election, my friend, on 50 ballots in local elections. I've seen it all the time. The elections are won and lost sometimes by 10 ballots. So it doesn't take that much.
You just bought an election for $400.
Yes, you could have bought an election for $400. That's absolutely right. Yes, that's absolutely right. But it would take really bad people that would do that. And I think that this article proves to us that nobody would ever do that.
Oh, of course not.
Okay.
For money? No.
Yeah.
To enrich themselves? No.
Not a chance. No.
So, why not give the kids some real heroes to look up to? You know what I mean? Like generals, astronauts, postal workers.
I don't.
Barry, I'm sure they're part of the club that believes that no voter would ever be disenfranchised, and we would go to the ends of the earth to ensure that no voter was ever disenfranchised to protect democracy.
Yeah. Therefore, even thieving postal work have their scruples, is what you're saying.
Well, they'd be the salt of the earth, Barry, because of course.
Yeah, we'll take checks, but we're definitely not going to do that.
No, we're not going to touch ballots. Come on, that's taboo. That's
right.
That's a bridge too far, Barry. We can't do that. Barry, speaking of postal carriers, so
yes, sir.
I live in Bucks County, And I actually engage, and this is just happenstance conversation, with my mail carrier. She's a very nice lady. She's been doing it for 30 years. We're talking. She says, they're hiring at the local post office. All you have to do is go in and fill out an application. It's not like it was 30 years ago when I first joined the Postal Service, where you had to go through multiple security checks. You had to be fingerprinted, and you had to be background checked. All that is gone. You just show up.
Your mail carrier told you that?
Yes.
You just show up and they'll hire you.
Yep.
And you're handling people's mail.
Yes.
There might even be checks coming to you. There might even be mail-in ballots coming to you. And we don't know who's handling them? Are you serious?
That's what she told me. I have no reason to doubt her. It was an unsolicited conversation. She just offered it up. So I haven't checked this out. I haven't applied for a job, but I can't imagine why she would tell me anything different. She was appalled of it as well, given the things that she had to go through 30 years ago. All those checks and balances to ensure that you had upright people that didn't have criminal records. You could verify who they were. Those things that you want to be able to entrust checks and balances with. You want to ensure that those people are, legit people.
Yeah, good parts of society, right?
Heck, Barry, you could easily have someone, I don't know, that might have nefarious
intent?
They don't care about the job. They just care what they have access to. Understanding it's not the paycheck that you're working for. It's the other payment that you're getting.
That's incredible. You know what? I'm going to have to look into that. I'm going to find out what it takes to become a postal worker now.
Hey, you
what? Inspired me.
I think next week we should probably follow up on that, or you could certainly bring it up as soon as you find the information, because I think the listeners would want to know. Who knows? Maybe someone listening wants to be a mail carrier.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. That's a good point. Jack, I got to tell you, I've had my mail-in ballot not show up. I've had voter services change where I lived to an open field in a floodplain in a different township without my permission. Then asked me why I did that when I pointed out to them that I didn't live there. I've seen it all at this point, and I'm not sure if it's intentional or incompetence or a mixture of both. But I tell you what, I don't like the way the world is going. They're becoming quite lackadaisical over this stuff while we're being sold by the government that our security is of the utmost importance.
Yes, that no voter can be disenfranchised, Barry. Ever.
Right.
Under any circumstances.
Right. No matter who else gets disenfranchised by that protection of no disenfranchisement.
Exactly. Unless, of course, our guy wins. Then everything's fine. Well, move on. Nothing to see here.
Jack, I appreciate you coming on the show. I hope my listeners realize just how serious this is, because you demonstrating what these mail carriers were able to do with these checks certainly shows how bad it can be for us in many other ways.
And certainly, Barry, something to consider. A mail-in ballot is a 100% hit rate. You don't have to open it up to know what's in it. It's a ballot.
Oh, it's very obvious.
It's so very obvious. Mm-hmm. And not only that, I guess you could pay them to capture ballots that have been cast. And if they happen not to be cast in a certain way, you could pull those out of the stream. How would you know? You get a mail-in ballot, you vote, you do your thing, you send it back in. Okay, I cast my vote. Well, how do you know it ever made it to where it was supposed to go?
Well, you do, because they tell you when it arrived. They say, oh, we have your ballot. But what if they don't have your ballot? Then what do you do? And then you're in a whole rigmarole over that too. So that's another problem. These are the layers of mail-in ballots and the problems with them. We had an absentee ballot system, and that worked just fine.
Yep. I mean, you change a couple of percent here, you change a couple of percent there. It's not hard.
It's not hard.
I mean, someone with an Excel spreadsheet could figure out how much it takes and add a buffer in and pretty much guarantee an outcome with not a huge bankroll.
Yep, I agree. Well, Jack, let me let you go, and we'll talk next week.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. By the way, I did some looking into the Telegram's slips and chips, and apparently that's an encrypted setup where you can put illegally acquired, checks and things like that. It's a trading thing back and forth, and it's encrypted, so it's hard to see what's going on there. It's private, and I don't know much about it other than what I looked into on that. So I don't know how these people got caught, but I'm guessing that they just started watching them through these nefarious deposits by people that maybe were buying these things, but really didn't have anything, and they were opening bank accounts. I don't know, but I'm fascinated by it, and I hope there's further information as time goes on in the documents that I can catch up on this and find out what the evidence was, how they were caught. Anyway, we're going to take a commercial break, and then we're going to jump over to Carla. But first, let's get some bills paid, and we'll be right back.
Barry D is back with All Politics Are Local.
And I think it's time for us to jump over to Carla with Chester County Ramblings. I have no idea what she's talking about today, but I'm sure she's a rambling.
Yeah, you're funny, Barry. You were sounding a little Rodney Dangerfield voice there with Jack. How's your cold?
I get no respect.
That is true.
What's going on, Carla? What's hot? What's happening?
Hi, honey. First of all, what did you forget to do today when you opened the show?
I don't know. What?
You forgot to wish Valerie Schultz happy birthday.
Is it her birthday?
Yes, it is.
Oh, well, happy birthday to her.
Thank you, Eric.
That's very nice. Very nice. The audience approves.
The audience of two? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Anyway, before I get into it, this morning, East Whiteland residents have witnessed and videoed Earth being moved again on the Foot Mineral data center site in light of the perplexing what do they cover, who's on first stop work order. So
is that lithium dust in the air? It has a certain je ne sais quoi.
It does. And then there's other non-aqueous things, but what's a little dirt between friends?
That's right.
Anyway, I have all these burning questions always in my head, and I don't know where to go, but I'll start with one thing that seems to be really bugging me the most right now, and we discussed it.
Mm-hmm.
The people that record the East Whiteland meetings...
Wait. When you say discussed, do you mean DISCUSSED or DISGUST?
No, not this. We discussed with discussed.
Okay, perfect. Okay, just so I know. Okay, good.
Wait a second. Okay, go away there.
Go away.
Not you. Anyway, the people that record the East Whiteland meetings seem to mute certain parts of the meeting, or I thought at first it was just a video cutting out. I can't seem to figure out who's got them doing this, or they've decided they're doing it because they're treating the meetings like they're wedding videographers or something.
Right.
The company's called Municipal Meeting. They do a good job. But this bugs me. I don't know if this is happening in other municipalities they cover. I haven't had time to go through all these videos, but they do cover Schuylkill Township as well in Chester County. Anyway, I've been noticing this odd muting phenomenon for a while. I actually emailed East Whiteland initially July 9th after the July supervisors meeting. No reply, no acknowledgement, okay? Then it happened again on August 19th. The other day then I reached out again. I was prompted by a snippet of the August meeting that Ginny Kerslake from Food and Water Watch had posted with the following comment, and allow me. She says, I just noticed that the video East Whiteland Township posted of the July 8th, 2026 Board of Supervisors meeting has almost a full minute muted, during which they were deliberating about the vote on the requested changes to the approved plans. This is about the data center. Okay? So a lot of us noticed who were watching the Zoom at the time and, or were participating that way. I thought maybe then, it was like just a problem with the live stream. So then I went and listened to their recording, and it was the same thing. And it was because of this, and because of the fact one of the people they muted at that particular meeting, and it wasn't the first time they've done it to her, was State Senator Katie Moose, who they love to suck up to when they want a grant or two. Anyway, so to be clear, so no one is confused, this was not an executive session, or they would have left the room, correct? This is a deliberation in public, and the public has the right to hear it.
Yes, absolutely.
So I emailed East Whiteland again. I said to them, I realize nobody wants to talk to me because I'm against the data center. However, I contacted you in good faith on July 9th, 2026. It was about the live stream /Zoom /recordings of the meetings being deliberately muted in spots. I asked you then about your tech guys who record the meetings. And I had contacted you July 9th, meaning them, because I'm reading this, an excerpt of my email, because I have concerns about the fact that it's subverting the public record and against sunshine laws when they mute things or edit out sound. And Barry, they're literally, I've sent you the videos. They were, if they're deliberating in public and the video guys cut out the sound, no bueno. Deliberations in public are supposed to be audible, and the sound was cut in the whole room. Unless you were physically sitting in the room, you heard nothing. If they can remove the audio, they should be able to restore it, and East Whiteland should really direct them to do that. And they shouldn't let them do this going forward if they're just doing it of their own volition, because it is a violation of sunshine laws. And you would think that people that are videoing public meetings for a municipality would know that.
Right. Well, they probably do.
Also note that sometimes when they've done it, it has happened in the boardroom. It's not only happened in the boardroom of the township building, it's happened when the meetings were at Penn State, when somebody actually turned off the microphones or took them away. I'd have to go look at the videos to remember which it was, but I remembered there were wireless microphones and then there weren't. Now, they should reference the Sunshine Act. It's, I think, Section 704. I probably shouldn't have to tell them that partially muting a meeting can indeed violate the Sunshine Act because it prevents the public from hearing deliberations in public, and it also restricts public participation, but here we are. And also, as of 2022 with the Sunshine Act, cutting the audio or muting parts of a meeting that is viewed /heard online or via other telecommunications, because some people literally dial in on the phone versus a computer or tablet, it disrupts open meeting access, according to the gurus in Harrisburg. Now, East Whiteland has a right to reasonably control their meetings as far as maintaining order and time limits on public comment, but this other stuff, it's selective censorship, and it flies in the face of transparency and the whole concept of open meetings, and it's not an example of good government, and as of today, I'm still waiting for a reply. And you know as well as I do, whatever happens in a boardroom that's being recorded and streamed and done over Zoom or other platforms or live, you're supposed to hear it all. We're not hearing it all. It's not a wedding video. They aren't wedding videographers. They can put it back, or they need to stop doing it in the future. And my guess is they won't do it unless someone challenges it vis-a-vis the sunshine laws.
That's right.
And I think with this part of the sunshine laws, you have 30 days after the meetings to do that.
Yep.
But we're supposed to hear everything. The cheers, the boos, the claps, everything.
Yeah. This has become more commonplace than people realize, Carla, because the average person is not going to go to court and file a sunshine violation because they got to put money out of their pocket. We just expect governments to do the right thing. I will tell you that I know somebody right now that has filed a sunshine law complaint for right-to-know stuff, actually.
Really?
So, yeah, and it's a problem. These people, they do this stuff thinking that nobody's going to take the challenge, because you actually have to take this thing into a court hearing for the right-to-know documents.
And you can get it on camera, so then you can just play the video.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. It's a very difficult thing, because people know that it takes time, and there is no financial reward in the end. In fact, it's a penalty, because it costs you time and money to do the right thing. But everything that's worth doing costs, right?
Yeah.
But how often can people do it? People just can't afford to keep doing that stuff, and the government has an endless supply of money. They just keep doing whatever it is because they have the lawyers on
they don't have an endless
standby.
supply, and they're spending our money. And the thing is,
That's right.
I've been asking about this. I've been talking about this probably since, I don't know, was it like the end of last year, beginning of this year? I forget when I first noticed it. And, sometimes it definitely was just the video cutting out. Because the internet is kind of funky over there.
Right.
But then I realized that they're like, if you're listening, people clap, you don't hear it.
Right.
So I know people in this township and others have started recording in the room to make sure everything is gathered because they're not trusting people.
Yeah, right.
And, and nobody wants to be adversarial with where they call home.
We just want to be open and honest. That's all we're looking for. We're looking for the truth.
And you want to protect things, and the whole thing when, because a lot of this is all kicked up because of this data center.
Yep.
It's not only a health, safety, and welfare issue, for the public, but we're talking about our property values. And, and it's, and do you think it really matters where you live near a data center at the end of the day if it gets built and people are looking for a house? And we're on wells, and then you have Aqua has said, like, they don't have enough water to give them, and then there's all this chatter back and forth about, well, maybe they'll bring in tanks or something, and then, and then you hear rumors of certain county commissioners being helpful or wanting to be helpful, and who do these people work for? Who elected them? It's like really turning into this big circle jerk of special interest.
Yep. Listen, all the drama's been played out. It's just new actors every time. That's really what it is.
Correct. And I don't get it. And the stuff with the meeting recordings, that's an easy thing to address. And they don't even reply to the email.
No, because if they say anything, it only takes them down a bad rabbit hole. It's better they say nothing. I've learned that every time talking to the county for years, things like that, they'll be happy to talk to you on the phone, but they're not putting anything in writing either. So, and then once you start asking them questions, or you go, hey, well, wait a minute, didn't you just say such and such? They would stop talking to me. I can tell you, the county attorneys, when I was challenging them on things, just all of a sudden, poof, disappear. Houdini got nothing on these guys, and that's what they do, because it's better they say nothing than try and address it, and they're not going to.
It's just, it's
very sad.
I don't get it. And then there's something else that, since we have time, I might as well bring this up. In West Pikeland, in the park, there's this thing called Caden's Corner. And how it came to be were these parents who were grieving the loss of a baby who, lived, I don't know if it was a week, maybe it was 10 days, not that long, and died. So they decided to channel their grief into something positive for other people and their kids at Pine Creek Park in West Pikeland.
Okay.
And they created a memorial to this little Caden, and they created basically this really big, cool sandbox. They raised the money. Their money was, their name is Ryan and Denise Lighthead, and money came out of their own pocket. Their sweat equity. I mean, I've seen so much stuff, and it's great. And it was so nice, and everybody was behind it. Well, all of a sudden, there's this redesign of this park, and he sits on the Parks and Rec, this Ryan, okay? He wasn't told about it as far as what I'm seeing. And, he went to a recent meeting, and West Pikeland, they're like in the Stone Ages. They do not like sunshine over there. And he was just like, why didn't you tell me about this? We're invested in this. We created this thing, they don't want everything moved and the sign to disappear and everything else. And that is kind of what could happen, and nobody's really answering them. And all of the supervisors seem in support of preserving Caden's Corner, except for one, Her name is Noreen Vigilante.
Mm-hmm.
And she was kind of unpleasant at a meeting about it. And people are like really upset about this over there. And Cadence Corner has brought like all these parents joy. I mean, it's a really nice sandbox,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And like, okay, can't they design around it? And then there was some whole thing about whether they were going to have the memorial sign stay there. And I forget what it was that this Noreen Vigilante said, but it was really unpleasant. Like, she like didn't get why people, you know, they wanted to save this.
Mm-hmm. And
she was really unconscionable in my mind about just not even being kind about anything. And it's, you know, built in memory of a little boy bear, I found it, who passed away 7 days after he was born in December 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And these people, they support improving Pine Creek Park. They support creating a better playground for the families of West Pikeland and the visitors. And they support investing in parks and community. They don't have a goal to stop progress. They just want to make sure that the future improvements are built upon what already exists, rather than trying to erase it. And they've said to me that the hardest part of this process has been realizing that only a few short years after building Cadence Corner with the support of so many amazing people, they find themselves having to publicly explain why preserving a memorial to an infant son who died matters.
Yeah.
And, you know, supervisors Steve Costa, Harold Hallman, Brian Mayer, you know, they asked the difficult questions, seeking clarity and everything else, and they were great with the family and the people that are concerned, but this Noreen Vigilante, and even the new township manager, and it's like, I don't even remember what this one's name is, because, you know, they've had a few in the past couple of years, few years, kind of like West Vincent.
Yeah.
And they're urging people to call West Pikeland and email West Pikeland, and they want the conversations to remain respectful and constructive, even in the face of Noreen Vigilante and her unpleasant attitude. And it's not about stopping progress. It's about, preserving a memorial that so many people helped create and the township approved. So it's like, what, they suddenly don't want it?
Yeah, no, it's a very frustrating thing, and I hate to say this, but I'm not going to make a comment on this just because, and it's not because I don't want it, because I stay out of all that.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm going to say something really nasty, and I don't want to. So I think it's better that I keep my mouth shut. My mama taught me that, and I try to follow it. I'm not good at it sometimes, but it's. I get exactly what you're saying, and I totally agree with you. So
and the memorial sign has this black and white photo in it of I don't know when it was taken, but it was like everybody holding the little baby's hand, and all you see are the little baby fingers. And it was residents, donors, volunteers, local businesses, township staff. They all pitched into this.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a little, these are these little things that you can do for residents.
Right. That makes it a community.
Yeah, and West Pikeland really shouldn't want any more garbage coming their way, because, I mean, they've already had it with the police department.
Yep. Yeah, well, you know what? I think the supervisors, maybe they'll, Harold Holman and that group will probably do the right thing. I hope they will. In fact, I'm gonna make a call over about that.
That I would appreciate that, because it's just, it's like then they grieve twice,
right.
And I don't think that's fair.
Right, I agree.
Now, I want to also point something out about Tradifrin.
Well, you got about a minute, so go ahead.
Okay, the student houses are back in full force in Mount Pleasant, and a woman took a video at 7 a.m. the other day, and it's hard to say how many students are living in the house, but it was like 8 cars. And, there's supposed to be like 3, and like one of them was bought in like a giant beer pong table, And, you know, you've got this one supervisor, Sharon Humble, I think she's the vice chair, who, you know, is making, like, friendly noises in community groups, saying that they're looking into it. How many freaking years are they going to contemplate their navel on that? And I think they need a new township manager. Their township manager is Bill Martin, who came up under Dave Bayshore, who was the manager that they, like, got rid of and the FBI looked into him years ago in Radnor.
Yeah.
And it's just like, they need a clean slate, because if you have a zoning officer, part of their job, she does the codes and stuff, and they're supposed to go out and make sure these houses are compliant. Even if they're grandfathered, they still have to be compliant.
Yes. Yeah. I totally agree with you. In fact, you know what? Let me just extend this section here, and I'll change my part that I was going to do on voter fraud. I'll make that my monologue for next week. Yes, this is an issue, right? This is what happens. These things, and if they can't do anything about it, why aren't they telling the residents, we can't do it because of X, Y, Z. We can't cover this. But the fact is, a lot of times, this stuff gets pushed to the back burner because it doesn't affect them personally. And that's when you end up having these problems. So as a result, the health, safety, and welfare of the residents gets put on a back burner because it just doesn't affect any of the people that are being asked for the help. Now, I can assure you that if it was one of their friends that lived down there, or a relative or a loved one, they'd have people down there all the time until they would set fire to the place to stop it from happening. But because it's not that, they just let it go. And they're just like, there's nothing we can do about this. Another thing, listen.
Well, there is. And the other thing is, this is Tredifrin. There's a supervisor that lives somewhere, I guess, near Chesterbrook or in Chesterbrook, near wherever that club is that they're turning into a park that they took by eminent domain.
Okay.
There's lots of time for that. Okay? But there's not time for people in the panhandle of Tredifrin, in one of the most historically black areas settled by freed slaves and freed people of color, like in the 18th century. That's how far back that little neighborhood goes. And it also stretches into Upper Merion, which has also then allowed more predatory development. So it's like, these people, it's like if it's far enough away from the township building, nothing to see here.
Well, you know, that's really what happens in zoning, too. They push the things they don't want to the township's edges, and then they forget about them. I will tell you that in cases like this, all they need to do, it's very simple. They just, whenever they're having their parties, whenever they're doing whatever, they have a cop down there just sitting in a plain car, just minding his own business, sitting in some car or sitting in somebody's yard, minding his own business, and nailing them for disturbing the peace. Just keep nailing.
And residents they call the police and everything else, and because of where they are in Mount Pleasant, they get treated differently.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to say that. That's like the big elephant in the room. Yeah. They go to the meetings, and, you know, there's like little platitudes. They pat them on their heads. Oh, little poor residents, we'll help you out, whatever. And then they just don't.
No, and they need to, listen, there are times where the supervisors need to be humiliated. They need to be pushed, and they need to be prodded. And like I said, when Junior starts getting citations for disturbing the peace, that really doesn't help the record when Junior gets out of school and he starts looking for a job, right? Repeat offenders. Now you got it on a record because you're over 18 years old and this is happening. And listen, I know there's a lot of money floating around on that part of the county. I get all that. And the kids' parents are probably lawyers and doctors and whatever they are, and I get it, or engineers, and they got the money and they can represent their kid. But you know what? You just keep getting the tickets. Bam, here you go. See you in court. Here you go. See you in court.
No, and it's just, but these people that live there full time, and they're nice people.
Yes.
I know some of them.
Yes. They're decent, hardworking people. They just want their peace and quiet like everybody else. The whole point is it's the health, safety, and welfare of everybody. And when these types of things happen, listen, this is exactly what happened with the Phillipses and the Oswalds over on the border of Euclid Township and West Whiteland Township. Neither police department did anything, and now one man is in jail for like 7 years for stabbing the other guy because the one neighbor harassed the hell out of the other over and over, and they kept saying it was a civil matter. It was not a civil matter. They kept violating zoning, but nobody would do anything. Nobody would do it. Literally put a fence up on the Phillipses' property. Put a fence up, right? Nobody would do anything. Finally, they went down. Mrs. Phillips went down to the codes department and said, "This is what's going on." They said, "We don't even know about this. This was farmed out to the engineering firm. This is absolutely not right." When they went and looked, they went, "Yeah, she's right. You got to move this off the property. And you got 10 days to do it." Well, then the guy moved it, put Klieg lights on it, and shined it on their house.
Was that sign?
Yeah.
Or is that the painted fence? Because there was both.
They did the painted fence that spelled out a slur about some of the female anatomy on the side of it. They did all sorts of things, filming the family while they were trying to have dinner on their back deck. But the police did nothing. They did nothing. But you know what? After an incident went down and it erupted in violence, and the husband ends up going to jail over this on like an attempted murder charge. Well, now all of a sudden, the perpetrator has been getting. He moved out of that area to another place. He's harassing somebody else. Well, now he's going to be in court again. There's repeated things going on for the same conduct.
Wait, in a different township?
In a different township. He moved, sold that house, moved to another place, doing the same thing to another neighbor. It's bizarre. This guy is bizarre. Yeah.
They haven't talked about that in a long time.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I mean, but the reason I brought up the different thing is because Villanova bought Cabrini.
Mm-hmm.
And so that falls into, like, I think that's not even in Chester County. That's Delaware County because it's over the line. But it's so close to that Panhandle and Tredyffrin.
Yep.
And they've really got to get stuff together with it. And literally, no one wants to talk about it.
Nope, they absolutely don't.
But I can't believe that that's happening again someplace else.
Oh yeah. No, it's a problem. It's a problem.
Oh, and also noteworthy, brief mention.
Mm-hmm.
Since I'm like a complete tangent today.
Mm-hmm.
Eli Kahn Development bought the Robert A. DiStefano Vanguard Technology Center for $17 million from the Vanguard Group.
Wow.
Yeah, they're going to lease back the complex through 2028.
Uh-huh.
But who knows what will happen after that? The address is 1041 West Valley Road, so I guess that is Tredyffrin as well.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, keep our eyes open for that. It's going to be a while in the future. Hey.
And then also, if people want to go see the Reading Phillies, it's Malvern night, and I think that's Saturday. And Able Brothers Towing in DeVoe has they're a sponsor.
Uh-huh.
And if people are interested, they can call them to see if they have tickets left. 610-644-1073.
Oh, how fun is that? And by the way, if Harry Callis was saying it would be Malvern, Pennsylvania. So.
But it's really the Reading Phillies are
that's
fun.
Awesome. They are fun. They're very fun. Hey, I gotta let you go. I gotta close out the show.
You gotta let me go. We ran out of time. We were talking
way out of time.
So much.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much. We'll talk again soon.
All right. Goodbye, Bear.
We'll see you. Bye-bye. Okay. I guess this whole thing's going to become like I said, a monologue in next week's show. Hey, I got my monologue written for next week, Eric.
All right. Oh,
my God. Matthew McConaughey's still wandering around the building. Well, you know what time it is? It's time to end this show, Eric.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Unfortunately, as much fun as that was, it's time to go. Thank you, Eric Clambert, my producer here on All Politics Are Local. This guy has a special effect on women, and it goes something like this.
Don't call me!
Yeah, remember Mondays and Wednesdays, Eric and I are together on the morning show. Be sure to listen to the Monday morning show and get the latest in news, sports, talk, and 3 hours of totally useless knowledge. So it's a perfect time for callers. And we love callers. But Jesus, not when the phone rings that long. WCHG, we're your local terrestrial radio station. We're your neighbors, your friends, and the ones that have your back. Internet radio, satellite radio, they can only give you the illusion that they can relate to you. We are Chester County. And while you're at it, get out there and support the local businesses, especially the ones that support us. And hey, if you like my show, take the time to send a nice note to WCHG at 953WCHG.com. And if you don't like the show...
Don't tase me, bro! Don't tase me!
Carla's calling me on my cell phone. I'm trying to close out the show. Carla, just stop. As always, thank you to General Manager Donna Saul, the one responsible for me being back on the airwaves after 33 years.
See, I was afraid you were going to say that.
Oh, geez, Donna. Why do you always sneak up on me like that? Be sure to like and follow WCHE's Facebook page where you can keep up on what's happening around the town and the county, and you can see updates and videos on my Facebook page, which is WCHE, All Politics Are Local with Barry D. What, you swallow a hairball there, Eric? Jeez. And my YouTube channel, All Politics Are Local with Barry D. Today's intro and outro music is I Know There's Something Going On by the ABBA member Frida. It was. And that song was a Billboard Hot 100 hit that went all the way to number 13 in 1982.
All right.
Okay, somebody just chain him down at this point. By the way, Phil Collins played the drums on that song. Phil Collins. And one final thought of the day. There's only one more week till the close of summer as we know it. And Labor Day is next week. And get out to the Ludwig's Corner Horse Show and get some fresh air. See the horses. Enter your pet in the pet parade. Is like stepping back in time 70 years. And one last note. For the first time ever, I'm actually hosting an on-air music show. I have never spun a record. I have never played a CD. I have never done anything with music on air before. That wasn't ever what I did in radio. But this, tonight actually, Friday night, 6 to 6:30, it's called Jukebox. So you can hear my first time ever doing an on-air thing with music. So I hope you enjoy it. And then it's going to replay, I think, Sunday night, 6 to 6:30 also. Anyway, I'm Barry D for All Politics Are Local. Thanks for listening.